Right, hello, I'm Sophie, and I'm here to introduce you to Colonial Caribbean. So this is a resource that's across three modules, which covers the official British government documents from 1624 to 1870. So this will be split from 2021 all the way through to 2023. So our modules are, we've got Module 1, Settlement, Slavery and Empire, and then Colonial Government and Abolition, and Economic Change and Indentured Labour. So this covers 25 islands in the Caribbean. These stretch from Jamaica and the Bahamas to St. Lucia and Barbados, and it presents an opportunity for the academic field to study slavery from prominence to abolition in the wider context of British colonial rule in the West Indies. So this presents generally the resource details, the regular running of trade and shipping to island council meetings, various legislation and bills, prison records, building plans, all amongst the fierce rivalries that were going on with the Spanish, Danish and French powers in the Caribbean region. We also have some key themes that I'll just take you through now. So this includes absentee land laws and estate ownership, crime and punishment, finance and economy, trade and shipping, law and governance, mutiny and piracy, plantation governance, maintenance and labour, religion, slavery, abolition and emancipation, uprising and revolts, and war in the military. You'll be able to study the overall administrative running of the Caribbean islands that were part of the British Empire. So there are also some foreign language documents in Spanish, French and Dutch, which will show how certain islands, such as Guadeloupe, fell in and out of the hands of the different powers over the earlier period, which we look at in Module 1. So this digital initiative will allow users to explore and research the economic and social conditions across the islands and understand how they were managed across a turbulent period of change in a subject area where significant digital resources are really in demand from scholars. So we have some interesting visual examples of this that you can see here. So this includes a map with references to economic value of land, a hospital built specifically for enslaved peoples. There's a letter here regarding the Kingdom of Haiti, which is signed by William Wilberforce, as well as petitions for and against slavery. So these are from the enslaved themselves to the plantation owners. Material in the resource is scanned from bound volumes, which contain a treasure trove of documents such as correspondence, census data and statistics, draft bills, land board papers, legislative acts, maps and plans, medical and military reports, minutes of meetings. There's some newspaper clippings, ordinance, petitions, and proclamations. Now, the resources narrative stems from the perspective of white British colonisers, as these are administrative government documents. Now, you can find some hidden narratives of those who were enslaved within these documents. However, it is important to note that these are still viewed through the white gaze. It still presents academics and students with an opportunity to study the multitude of angles throughout the rise and decline of the slave trade. So I'm now going to take you through a document for Barbados. So this is CO 2867, which describes the mutiny on board the boat Friendship in August 1801. So it describes initially the reaction of the boatswain and crew member when they were shaken awake and told that people on deck were killing each other with muskets. As the boatswain went to investigate, he discovered the first and third mates being held hostage in the cabin by 4 men with pistols. The crew member subsequently runs up to the deck after one of the men threatens to blow his brains out and sees that the boat continues to sail towards shore while there are attempts with an axe to cut the anchor's chain. The tale continues with the first and third mates being sent back to land on the pinnace, with the first mate suggesting to the boatswain that he secretly try and get other crew members to side with him and take the ship back. The second mate is then shot and thrown overboard, confirmed later by the surgeon, who drunkenly threatens to burn the ship down. It would appear the crew members committed the mutiny and then left the ship together and were not seen by those interviewed on the event. There is also an ongoing narrative of how the true destination of the trip seems to be unknown to the majority of the crew, only known by the first examinant and the boatswain. So it contains numerous accounts of the event and how these incidents were reported back to the administrative bodies back on land. So this provides a glimpse into how business of governance was conducted. The account is exceptionally detailed and the language much more long-winded than perhaps you'd find in a modern account today. It's also worth noting here how black crew members were referred to by their race, while white crew members were referred to by their position on board. Now, this is part of our wider trade and shipping theme, which follows numerous cargoes such as coffee, sugar, bread, and fish. And you can see some examples provided here from British Honduras. Now, trade and shipping is a particularly important theme. As many of the themes are connected through shipping, this is due to the financial benefits Britain gained from its Caribbean exports and the slave trade, which can be studied across this resource. It provides statistics and data from the period relating to financial information, which students can use to study in more depth. Now, this document above is actually going to be super accessible to students and researchers in that not only will it be fully HTR'd, so this is handwriting technology recognition, we now have the ability to generate HTR transcripts. Now, Colonial Caribbean is a majority manuscript material, and many governors have beautiful but slightly illegible handwriting, which makes these documents quite difficult normally for students to interrogate fully. I mean, it took me quite a long time myself to fully grasp the Friendship's gruesome story that I've told you. Now, HTR and our new Quartex HTR transcripts tool will generate a transcript of text on each image. These transcripts can be searched from site level, increasing the searchability of this large manuscript collection. And on that final note, I will now pass you on to our section on Quartex.
Thank you, Sophie. My name's Katie Gambone, and I'm a sales specialist for the Quartex Digital Collections platform. As Sophie mentioned, Quartex is technology that's now available to other repositories to use to showcase your own cultural heritage collections. Here on the Quartex Collections site, you can find a list of our current partners, as well as more information about the Quartex platform. Jumping over to the Quartex demo site, we'd love to show you a little bit more about how HTR works. We'll go ahead and run a search for the term Jeremy Belknap, a proper noun, and find that we have one asset in our collection where the name Jeremy Belknap has been found. Clicking into the asset, you can see that we have hit highlighting in the asset itself, as well as in the transcript. The transcript can be downloaded from the front end of the site, producing a plain text version that researchers can use for a variety of purposes. The transcript can be manually corrected from the front end using the plain text copy, or it can be corrected from the back end of the platform. Here we are in the administrative side of the platform where you can see we still see the asset alongside a copy of the transcript where you can make your corrections. We've just taken a look at an example of a single image asset. Let's take a look at HTR on a compound object. We're going to now run a search for the term Rocky Mountains. When we come to our search results page, we'll see that we can toggle off the full text search and apply our search just to the metadata. The results are that you find no assets in the system that have Rocky Mountain. So we're being pointed to these resources because of the transcript solely. If we click into the first option, you can see this is a 157-page asset. Our search, Rocky Mountains, has produced a number of results. You can see here clearly on the first page where a search result was found, Rocky Mountains highlighted, as well as in the transcript. Scrolling below the asset to our search results tab, you can see that Rocky Mountains was found a number of times throughout this particular document, and we have hyperlinks that indicate the page on which it's found as well as the number of search results on each page. We can run alternate searches within this asset as well. So for example, if we want to run a search for the term salmon to see if there are any mentions by Lewis and Clark of salmon during their expeditions, you can see that search results can be found. There are a number of other journals that are associated with this particular asset. If we scroll to the document details, here we have the full metadata record for this particular journal. Everything in a gray ellipse is a controlled vocabulary term that is a clickable link that will take you directly to that asset or a filtered list of assets that match that same controlled vocabulary term. Here we've jumped to the Lewis and Clark Expedition Voorhees Journal 3, where they clearly also mentioned Rocky Mountains in their asset. To learn more about Quartex, all the functionality available to you, and to request a demo of the Quartex platform, we do encourage you to visit us at quartexcollections.com. and click on the button Request Demo. We look forward to talking with you. Thank you.